Hey guys, I'm Chris Cooper, and today I'm going to talk about the difference between legacy and impact. The two terms get used interchangeably, and today I want to tell you what the difference is and how to create both. If you like this video, just hit subscribe on our channel or hit like, and we'll know to keep making videos for higher level gym owners like you. When you open up a gym, you start from $0. Whether you have a bank account and you're self-funding or a partner or you're borrowing money, whatever, your business is earning $0 when you conceptualize it. And your first goal after you get like some recurring cash flow is to build those cash flows up until you get to 100K in net owner benefit. Okay. Then from there, your next goal is to get to 1 million in net worth. And at that point, that's when you can start having an impact. Now, a lot of gym owners will say, like, I opened my gym to have an impact. And it's true, like through your vocation of coaching, you are having a meaningful impact on your local community. Congratulations, that's amazing. We're talking about having a financial impact where you can give something back financially. Another thing that happens a lot is that on their journey to earning 100K in net owner benefit, a lot of gym owners who really got into this because they're generous with their time and their resources, they'll wind up like giving a lot of stuff away. And actually what I recommend is that until you're at 100K in net owner benefit yourself, you don't give a lot of charity, at least out of your personal pocket. Now, I understand that's like anathema, but I promise you, if you wait a little bit longer, the amount that you can give or your impact will be so much greater because you'll have a greater reserve to draw from, and that reserve will compound over time. So a great way to look at this is when I was working for CrossFit for Hope, we were raising money for St. Jude Children's Hospital. And Greg was putting money into the fundraising efforts. And the first couple of years, the CrossFit community raised several $1,000,000 for St. Jude. By the time I was brought on, it wasn't doing as well. And at that point, the rumor was that Greg was putting about $3 million into his fundraising efforts, and they were, resulting in like 2 million raised or something like that. And so he called us into this room and he said, okay, guys, instead of trying to make a little drop in a huge bucket like St. Jude's or Kenya, what we're going to do is find projects that will be more leverageable. So places where $10,000 will make an immediate and profound impact on somebody's lives, where it's, almost verbatim what he said. And he gave us this example of being in Cleveland and meeting a woman who was cleaning a gym. And this woman had a son at home who was nonverbal and immobile. He couldn't move himself. And so obviously this person needed constant care, and she really couldn't afford to give this child as much care as he needed. And so the kid was literally sleeping in a bathtub because he would fall out of bed, or he had no place to sit other than like his wheelchair. And so Greg met this woman and said, okay, here's a place where $10,000 could change this young man's life. And so $10,000 bought the kid a proper bed and a proper chair to sit in. And that little amount of money made a profound and immediate impact in somebody else's life. And so what I'm talking about here is like the ability to have that kind of impact when they come up. I'm not talking about running a weekend fundraiser at your gym where you raise a few hundred or even a couple of $1,000. Okay, that's awesome. And you can do all of that stuff from here to here. But I would just caution you to like make sure that you're putting your own air mask in place first before you try to save everybody else around you. Okay. When you get to 1 million in net worth, though, that's when you can really start having real impact. And this is the kind of impact that I'm talking about, where you see a need and you just fix it. There's a famous phrase from one of my mentors that says, if money solves your problem, you don't have a problem. And when I reached this $1 million in net worth, I looked around me and I said, there are a lot of problems out here that I could solve and it wouldn't change my lifestyle at all. So for example, when Robin and I reached the $1 million net worth, our kids were still pretty young. And one of our kids, my son, was playing in a local hockey league. And we're pretty rural. For some reason, a lot of the parents of these kids don't have a lot of money, or the league is just poorly funded. These kids didn't have equipment. They didn't have jerseys. And so we said, we can solve that problem. And so for about 10 or $12,000, every kid had a jersey, every kid had the right equipment, the teams all had ice time, and we dressed them in like, the fancy warm-up suits that like the pros wear. And so these kids looked good, and we would go to tournaments and the kids would get proper nutrition. And we created this program because we were able to do that. And a few years later, like, man, we've been able to do so many of these things. And that's what having an impact is all about. And that's why I wanted to be a millionaire. But here's the thing. When I die, those impacts stop because I'm gone, right? And right now people come to me and I chip in and I help out. We want to build like a new downhill pump track for local kids to ride bicycles. Great, $10,000, no problem, let's go. But when I'm gone, that dies too. And so this is the difference now between having an impact one time and leaving a legacy, which is recurring impact over time. Okay. So to get there, what we need to do is bring your net worth up a little bit more. Okay. So maybe that's 5 million, maybe it's 10 million, maybe it's 20. For me, that's 20 million. And I'll explain exactly why. If I have a net worth of 20 million, and this is a net worth, you can see in my previous video, net worth could be like the revenue that comes from your businesses, the revenue that comes from your properties, your real estate, dividends from your index funds, returns on your Bitcoin, whatever, right? If I have a net worth of 20 million and I am receiving a return of 5% on that value every year, at 5%, I've created a fund that's spitting out $1 million every year without impacting the capital. The interest alone from $20 million at 5% return is $1 million a year that you can just give away. Here's an example of how this would work in action. You are at the $1 million mark and a local kid, in your daughter's graduating class is really bright, but can't afford university. And so over the summer, you see this kid and they're like working at McDonald's and you're like, man, that kid doesn't have a chance. Where are they going to go in life? They will never reach their potential unless I step in. And so you agree, okay, I'm going to pay $8,000 per year for 4 years to pay for your university. And when you've got $1 million net worth, you can do that and it will feel amazing. However, if you get to a $20 million net worth and you want to create a scholarship fund, then what you could do is you could put, maybe $500,000 into a scholarship fund generating 5% interest. And that interest is enough to generate $8,000 per year forever, without even touching the capital, because this capital just sits there and you're contributing the interest to a scholarship. And that's the difference between an impact and a legacy. An impact is being able to meaningfully and immediately change somebody's life with the leverage that you have. A legacy is the ability to do that over and over again, even after you're gone. So when we're building our programs at Two Brain, like these are the kind of opportunities that I want to create for you. So to get you from 0 to 100K, we have specific programs for that. If you're starting at 0, you start with our startup program. You launch cash flow positive. And then you go through our ramp up program to build your income first. And then you go into our growth program to get that income up to 100K net owner benefit per year. Then you go into our Tinker program, where the first goal is to get to this $1 million net worth so that you can have these meaningful impacts. I mean, you literally are changing people's lives at this level. And then we have higher level programs too to help get you to these higher goals so that you can create legacies. And in my book, Founder, Farmer, Tinker, Thief, here's how this breaks down. You start as a founder, and the path to 100K is the path of the farmer. Then you get into the tinker phase so that you can have impact. And then finally, you get into the thief phase so that you can have a legacy. Now, not everybody will get into the thief phase. Some will go into like a king phase instead or something else, whatever, right? But my goal is to create legacy. This is how impact and legacy are different. And I hope this helps with your perspective over time, because if I can do this stuff, anybody can do this stuff. Any gym owner can do it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've got processes to take you all the way there.